going here at the moment, but it'll be moving down across Wales into many parts of England too later this evening and more especially overnight. The rain's been welcomed with open arms so across the island of Cyprus. After a very dry year, water resources have been extremely low, so those 15 millimetres, as I say, have been very welcome indeed. Some snow falling over the mountains, the Troodos Mountains, so the skiing season looks like starting off here. And it stays very unsettled in the eastern Mediterranean over the next 2 or 3 days. Much more settled through the central areas though, a large area of high pressure, keeping the sunshine going in the western Mediterranean. But across the northwest of Europe, a very different story. It's not just us that's seeing the wet and windy weather, it's also pushing up across into many parts of Scandinavia and taking relatively mild air right the way across into parts of Eastern Europe too. So temperatures here staying a bit above what we'd expect at this time of the year. As I say, plenty more wet and windy weather to come for our part of the world through the next few days, but never particularly cold. Certainly tonight, temperatures holding well up with the cloud, the rain, and also the strong to gale force winds. We will see a touch of frost from time to time. I think it's more particularly during the second half of the weekend as those winds begin to die away and we get clearing skies that the frost becomes perhaps just a little bit more widespread. For the rest of today, though, we got that conveyor belt of cloud feeding the rain up from the southwest. Little wiggles running along that weather front. Every time they go through, then the rain just peps up a bit. By tomorrow, though, the worst of the rain has moved through on that weather system. Another pulse for Scotland, though. A little ridge coming in just to settle things down for a short time. The next batch of wet and windy weather, though, in across northern areas through Friday, moving further southwards on Saturday, and then plenty of showers packing in behind. And again, it is going to stay very windy. Some strong winds through the rest of today. Gales, in fact, coming in now across the Irish Sea. Gusts to 50 or 60 miles an hour. Still pretty wet too. Also perhaps some brighter weather eventually getting into Northern Ireland and staying quite bright, I think, across many eastern parts of England through the rest of the afternoon. Temperatures don't look too bad, 10 or 11 in the southwest. It's going to feel quite a bit colder than that, though, in those strong winds. Then through tonight, we find that rain marching on, fairly slowly to start with, but eventually moving down across towards the southeast, a bit lighter and more patchy by the time it gets there, but certainly across the west country, I think heavy enough perhaps to cause 1 or 2 problems again with local flooding. Tomorrow, another pulse of rain for a time across the north of Scotland. That'll move away, giving some snow for a time across the higher ground. The rain in the southeast moving away fairly quickly. And then apart from a few showers across more northwestern areas, I think many places will have a generally dry and fairly bright day. But there it is again, that wet and windy weather pushing in across the northwest through Friday. Again, gales for many areas, relatively mild though, 10 or 11 degrees. It's England and Wales that sees the wet and windy weather during Saturday. A bit brighter across the north by then, but some wintry showers for the Scottish mountains. Perhaps a bit of a respite for most of us during the second half of the weekend. That's the forecast. Bye for now.